welcome everyone. My name is Eleni Summer-Shields. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Wise Agent. Welcome to the Wise Agent webinar series. Today I have with me my really dear friend and such a great friend of mine, Mara Sullivan. I'm so excited to have you here, Mara.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here that you asked me. So I'm excited to answer some social media questions today.
I know this is going to be a fun one. We've gotten so many questions when you guys register for, and Sarah's telling me we're live on Facebook. So awesome. Thanks, Sarah. Before I jump into everything, I go through all my housekeeping stuff here first, Mara, so let me get through that. So we are live on Facebook in our Facebook page, and then we're also recording this session. So after we're all done recording this session, everyone that's registered will get a copy of it in their inbox. You'll also have Mara's contact information in there as well for you. But then we're also going to post this on YouTube, so it'll live forever and ever out in the social media world, right? So, which is totally appropriate because today we're talking about how to get more results out of your social media marketing. And so I have my fabulous friend Mara Sullivan here, and we're going to be talking about all things social media marketing related. So Mara was with Realtor.com. That's how she and I met, through another dear friend of ours, of mine and Mara's, Marcy James. And Mara is now a marketing consultant and specialist. She specializes in all things marketing, but more specifically social media. Yeah. So there is a chat section on the bottom of your screen, so you guys can post in there. And I always love seeing where everyone is from. So if you can post what city and state and what brokerage you're with. Mara and I both love traveling. So
yes, we're good travelers. We might see you on the road too. We're always on
the road. We do. I just saw her. Where did I see you? I don't know where I saw you. Were we in Vegas together? I don't know. We run into each other all over the country. So
everyone's from all over the country.
I know. So a lot of people from New York and Texas, and
also do a shout out if you're going to be at Inman next week. I will be at Inman. So if anyone wants to chit chat in person, I'll be wandering around the city.
Yes. So I know I won't be there. I know I just had I'm Greek Orthodox, so we celebrate Easter just a little bit slightly different. We're off a different calendar, so we celebrate Easter the following week, which is why I won't be at Inman Connect this year. But yes, I'm gonna miss all my friends there. And then the other thing is we have the Q&A section on the bottom of the screen as well. So if you have any questions, we have Sarah from our team here, Sarah Webb, our marketing manager, that's moderating, and she'll answer any of your questions, as well as if you're watching it on Facebook, even on the live or on the replay, go ahead and post your questions there, because we'll go back in and revisit those questions and answer those for you even after the replay the recording is done. Okay, we had a ton of people ask questions when they registered, Mara. There's so much to get through. And I know I even have questions because for me, I'm just sorry, I'm reading. It says microphone. Yes, so this is a webinar. So the mic and camera is only on Mara and myself. So if you guys have any questions, just post them in the chat. I see that Renee is asking that question. So yeah, we're just on camera here ourselves. So Mara, there's so many questions on social media, and I know some of them even I was like, oh, that's a great question. I have a couple of follow-ups to that. So I'm going to just jump right in and ask you just a few things. One, if you can tell us like some of your experience that you've had with social media and what you're doing right now, that would be great to give the audience a good feel.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. As Eleni said, I'm Mara. I was the social media manager at Realtor.com for about 3 years. Hence why a lot of the traveling and meeting agents and brokers from across the country. So I got to learn a lot from y'all. You guys had great insight and taught me so much about the industry and what should be on social media too, just by learning from talking to everybody, and everyone had different ideas and different strategies. So I kind of collected all of that and obviously brought it with me. I currently work with a couple tech companies in the real estate space. If you ever heard of Valuation, a new startup called Direct Offer. And I also consult and manage and coach real estate agents, brokers, and do webinars such as these. to teach social media and help people manage on how to grow their business through social media, typically organically, which means no ad money. But I saw the questions. I feel like we have a couple of questions about ads too, which I can answer as well. So that's kind of my background and my specialty.
Yeah. And I know, like, so with social media posts, I think one of the biggest things is, and I don't know about everyone else out there, maybe you guys can post this in the chat. So which is like your preferred social media channel? There's so many of them. I mean, there's Facebook, it was obviously one of the biggest ones out there, the like original maybe, and right. And then Instagram, right? Or
MySpace for me.
MySpace. Yeah. You know, and Instagram, YouTube. Yeah. So then there's, you know, TikTok, there's LinkedIn, there's Twitter. I'm not a Twitter person or tweeter. I'm not, you know, you're a Twitter. Twitter. I don't know what it's called. Someone, you know, talks about Snapchat. I don't do Snapchat either. So like, what is, you know, I'd love to hear what people are using out there. So if you guys want to post, like, which one is your favorite channel, that'd be great to be able to see that. But Mara, what is some of your experience with like, which ones have like more traction for realtors specifically? Because I mean, we're talking, that's our audience, right? That's our industry. What do you see? What have you seen with that?
I think we have to think that every market is a little bit different. And you have to think for the average home buyer in my area, what platform can we generalize that they're going to be on? Are they going to be on Facebook, right? Some markets skew a little bit older. They might be on Facebook. Instagram is great for ads, great for posting because real estate is highly graphical. Everything is so beautiful, right? Why wouldn't you want to show things off on a video and photo sharing platform, right? TikTok is growing. So if you feel like you're in a market where maybe it skews younger, or maybe people are really into like tech, right? So they might be on TikTok. That might be a better avenue for you. I know someone mentioned Snapchat. I haven't used Snapchat in a couple of years. I'm not sure how people are using it for lead gen. I know back a couple of years when it was a little bit hotter, there were more users on it. I would just make sure, invest your time in the platforms that you feel like your audiences are. Do not spread yourself too thin. I would pick like 2, maybe 3 platforms that you really feel like you can dedicate the time and effort and make good quality content, instead of spreading yourself thin across multiple platforms where you might be, you know, use your time wisely is my best advice, you know, and really do a little research on where you feel like people will engage with you on.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. I think that was like the number one question was like, how do I get more engagement? Because you're putting time into, you know, I mean, I know if I am going to post something, which I don't post that much on social media. If I do, I think about it like half the day. I'm just like, oh, should I write this? Should I say that? And it's like, it's kind of like doing videos, you know, you just kind of have to jump in there and just start at some point, right?
Yeah. And I tell my clients, I tell everybody, you know, social media moves so quickly. And the way to get engagement and stay top of mind is just be consistent. And there's a lot of hesitation and a lot of like, you know, oh, I'm too, you know, scared to post, analysis paralysis. People say like they overthink what they're going to do. You know what? Post. And if someone doesn't like it, they're going to scroll, and tomorrow is a new day to post something that they might be interested in. You know, it's just getting over that hump of just like, I'm going to be authentically myself online. And I think that's another thing, like to get engagement, to build a community, to build a following, be authentic. People love to hear about you. Every agent is an independent business owner, which is what I love about real estate. Everyone gets to do it differently. Everyone gets to shine in a different way. There's no template of what you have to be or how you have to be. So just show who you are. So clients will want to work with you. And
I love what you said, be authentic, and tomorrow is another day. So if you post something and they scroll past it and nobody likes it, I know, like, or maybe a couple of people like it and you're like, oh, that sucked, you know, like that fell flat. Maybe that one falls flat, but then the next day you post something, you get a bunch of engagement. So then you learn a lesson of like, okay, whatever fell flat, no one's interested in that, right? So speak more to what they're interested in. It is a little bit of a trial and error, I guess, in the beginning.
Totally. And that's what I love about social media. And even when I worked at realtor.com, you know, it's a big corporation, we were very much of testing. Like if it doesn't do well, great. Like we thought that as like a good thing because we're like, we know what not to do and we can pivot from there. But you're not going to know until you start posting, you know? So
Right.
I think that's
That is
really
so
funny.
true. That's so true. You don't know until you start making a post on
Yeah.
something. And I think, one of the questions too, I mean, I know I have this question is, so you post something out there, right? You make a post, you got a listing, or you have, you just sold a property. A couple of people maybe liked it, and then no one really commented. What could you do? Like, what do you do with the people that liked it? Do you do something with that? Do you not? What happens with that?
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a twofold question. Are you posting this on your business pages or are you posting this on your personal? Because the engagement levels and who is commenting and clicking does make a big difference. So if it's on your personal page, obviously you can't run ads off of your personal page. So those who engage with you, you're not going to be able to retarget them. But what you could do is if you do have a personal or a professional page, a business page, we're speaking Facebook,
Yeah.
you can invite them to your business page. And then from there, you can start targeting them and talking to them more about real estate based things. And, but honestly, if someone engages with you on your personal page, a simple, oh, hey, how's it going? Because they interacted with you first. So they kind of opened that door for communication. And all you have, and that really does give you the open door to say, how are you? You don't have to start off with a real estate question, but just a check-in, because you
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah. And I love that you brought up the fact that you've got your personal page and then your business page on Facebook. And I think a lot of the questions are probably, and a lot of the questions that we already have gotten are pretty much Facebook related. And there are a lot of other different social media platforms, like we said. So, but right now we're talking about Facebook. So what happens, you're a realtor, you've been a realtor for quite some time, you don't have a business page. How do you go from having this personal page to now starting scratch with, creating this business page? And then is there a benefit to, and maybe explaining the benefits to having that business page?
Yeah. So I guess a big question I always get is like, what's the difference? Which one should I have? Which one should I invest time into? So your personal page is obviously personal to you. It could be private for various reasons. You don't want people to find you and your personal information that you're posting about family, friends, et cetera, et cetera. So a business page is great for that, for privacy, right? You can just have your business information on there. You can have your office location, obviously, like not where you live. But to transition, once you create a business page, there's a big button on there that says invite friends. So you're going to invite every single one of the people on your personal page. Facebook will allow you to do that. So you can easily transfer over. Eleni, we talked the other day about, I have this rule that I recommend for all people. If you are using your personal Instagram, Facebook account to market yourself as a realtor, I have a 70-30 rule, which means 70% of your posts should be personal. So this could be your community based, a sunset, what your fun plans you did last weekend, right? It doesn't need to include necessarily personal, like family or like personal issues, but just what makes you you, what do you enjoy, what makes you unique. And then your 30% is going to be your real estate stuff, because like we said before, your authenticity and your personal brand is what's going to grow you as an individual, as a business. Not like, yes, your numbers, it looks great, you're working all these houses, but people are really invested in you. And that's what's going to get high engagement posts, because people would much rather engage with a picture of people than maybe a link to a listing, right? So how do we turn these links to listings or these sold properties? How do we create that into stories? And I think that's an important part. How do we create this into a moment rather than a link, so people can feel engaged and people understand context, right? People love a good heartwarming story, like a good win. People love hearing a winning story rather than here's a link, I sold, 25% over asking. People are more invested in the story of the sellers and how you worked with them and how it was such a win for you and the client. Way more engaging.
Yeah, exactly. And it's less the bragging more than, this is what you've done. This is how you're the area expert. This is how you're a great negotiator and you've done whatever, everything that you've done, because you do work so hard as realtors. You guys work so hard to get these deals done, even in, the market that we're in now. You still work hard. And so, celebrate that more than the commission check itself, right, is what I think I'm hearing you
Totally.
say.
Yeah. Yeah. I think to yourself, to the people involved in the transaction, the dollar amount was very important.
Right.
But to your sphere, when you're telling this to everybody else, the numbers probably don't matter as much. They want to know, is this person competent? Does this person work well with their clients? Did they go the extra mile? So those are all the accolades and things that I think potential clients or even your sphere, they are invested in, right? More
Yeah.
than the dollar amount.
Yeah. And I always tell people too, whenever we're doing this webinar and talking about marketing, marketing yourself as a realtor, because your product is really you. You're the service that you're selling yourself and the service that you provide. And one of the things that I always tell people, so if you're going, we mentioned Inman, earlier this morning. So if you're going to be going to a conference to learn, if you're taking CE classes, post about that. It's kind of personal, but then also business related, right? Like, oh, I had to wake up super early to get to my CE class so I could sit up front and get, my certification on whatever it is that you're getting your designation on, or whatever your class that you're doing. I think that's something that you could have, both on the business side and on the professional, and on the personal side, both of it, kind of working together. And then again, just even linking that back into, I was talking about putting that in your marketing, right? In your emails, saying, how do you bring value to your potential buyers and sellers? And that's, your knowledge.
Yeah. And I think of this all as like, what's your brand story, right? How are you portraying yourself to your audience in a digital sense, right? Because the first thing I do is when I want to work with someone or buy anything is like, I Google them, right? And if it's like a human, I look at their social media and I want to kind of know, what are they about? What are they dedicated to? So not only do those designations and education, what do they mean, right? So it means this person is really invested. It's not just the designation. It's not just, oh, like celebrate me. It means a lot of other things. It's like, this person is really dedicated to their profession. This person invests time and money into their profession. It's not just a side gig, right? And, this person is also now more knowledgeable to help me as a consumer with my transaction, or maybe, protecting my rights as a homeowner, or just involved in the community, which is all things that people want out of professionals that they work with.
Yeah. And one thing, you mentioned, you Google somebody, you look up their social media. One of the things that I do whenever, if I'm doing a demo, even today, thinking of the demos that I'm going to be doing, showing how this all relates back to Wise Agent. I strongly recommend, everyone that's on this webinar that has a Wise Agent account, if you guys go, and I'm going to share my screen here really quick, Mara, if you guys go into your Wise Agent account and add yourself as a contact, right? And then I'm just going to go to a contact that I know, well, he should be in here. I think maybe someone deleted him. This is a demo account after all. Let me just make sure. Okay, he is in here. So, and you just add your email address in your Wise Agent account as a contact, and then use the social media enhancement, this lead enhancement on your contact record to see what information comes up. So if I look at this particular person, Vince, I can see like it on his email, what is public about him. So I could see his LinkedIn profile. I could see his tweets. I can even go to the Twitter feed on his contact record and see his last 3 tweets and engage with him if I want to. This is kind of important because this is going to show you as the realtor what the public sees about you. And so you want to make sure that this is something that that they're able to find you first and foremost on social media. You don't want to be so locked down, or if you are locked down, make sure your business page isn't locked down, right? I don't think you can have a lockdown business page, right, Mara? It's just all public, right?
Yeah.
Your business page.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you have something where they're able to find some information about you, at least your LinkedIn profile, at minimum, but then also, your Facebook page or something, Instagram, YouTube, if you have a YouTube channel, fill all of that information out, make it public, mix most of the things that you can, or what you feel comfortable with sharing public, so then they can find things out about you. And I see Marletta, you're asking how much is this lead enhancement? So everyone that has a Wise Agent account, you get 100 free lead enhancements with each account. You can, buy the package. I think it's like $5 a month for unlimited for your whole entire database to get all of this information. But you should, definitely just do this for yourself. If you're not going to use this for your whole database, use this for yourself to see like, what do I look like publicly to everybody else? So then people can start, so you can start strategizing what is going to be the best thing for you to work on. Do you need to work on your LinkedIn bio? Do you need to work on your Facebook or whatnot? So, and Lisa's asking, can I show an example with Facebook? Okay, I'm going to work on that as we continue this conversation, because this is a demo account. I got to find real people that are interested in showing their Facebook profile on that.
While Lainey's doing that, I'll kind of piggyback off of that. It's like, you should be Googling yourself a couple times a year just to see what pops up, just in case there's, and you want to make sure just the good stuff is at the top. And I think when it comes to social media, particularly, my biggest pet peeve is when I'm looking up an agent and their profile is private, which is totally okay. Like, it is a-okay to be private. But if you want to use your Facebook as some sort of lead source or a marketing avenue, if someone does, Google your name, at least put like what market you live in the public part of your bio. I know you can have things totally on lockdown, but that little box underneath your profile picture on Facebook, you can have that just public, and minimally like the markets that you work in. You can be a whole county. You don't have to be super specific about where you live. And then put your like website right there, a link, just so people can get a hold of you. There's been so many times where I'm trying to reach agents and I'm trying to find their contact information or just reach out to them. And it doesn't even say that they're a realtor. So bio, put I'm a realtor, this is the county or market that I work in, and a website, a way for them to reach out if you don't want them contacting you through Facebook.
Yeah,
Minimally.
that's a great suggestion, is just look at it on on what it would look like publicly. I think what a few of the questions that I see coming in, someone's saying like, I'm totally clueless on this. How does a business, how does this work with the business page? Is there any support on this? You can definitely, there's definitely people like Mara and others that you can reach out to, but I think one of the things is making sure that you kind of have an idea of what it is that you want to put out there. And that's what Mara was talking about, is get an idea of what you want to be sharing publicly, and then kind of get some of those filled out, some of the basic things. That basics getting started process is that first step. But then after that, like, how do we stay up to date with some of these platforms? I mean, Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all of them, they like change, like it seems like by the minute sometimes, right? They change so much and so frequently. Mara, how do you stay up to date with all of these changes?
Yeah, they change. There's new updates probably like every other month, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to create tools and ways to keep you on the app longer, which is great. I love social media. I'm on it all the time, obviously. So how I personally keep up to date is that I follow socialmediaexaminer.com. This is a great resource. They actually have an annual conference every year. They do it as well digitally. It's called Social Media World. Great information. And a lot of it is leaning now towards like sales and leads, a lot of the information. So perfect for real estate agents. I also curated my business Instagram to follow, like I follow a lot of people who specialize like myself in building businesses off of social media. So keep a few of those in your feed, and usually they're the ones who not only announce new things, but they'll show you like tutorials and like how to do them. So I have personally built a small community of people I follow. At the top of my head, the first one that I think of when it comes to sales copy, like if you're really on Instagram trying to build a business off Instagram, Elise Dharma is like my go-to. She actually sells like copy. If you're like, oh, I don't know what to write on my posts, she sells whole like Excel sheets of like ideas and stuff. So just like do a little searching.
Specifically for realtors?
It's not specifically for
Okay.
realtors. It's just for online sales, like e-commerce, but you know, switch it up. Just replace the word like trying to sell coffee with houses, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Elise Dharma. Let me
Yeah. Let's see if you can maybe
put it
post
in
that.
the chat. Her name is Elise
Yeah.
Dharma.
And
And
so, yeah. So
yeah,
one of the things, oh, there you go. You posted that. Perfect. Because that's one thing, like there's definitely that rule, and you said that 70-30 rule of keeping some of it like, most of it personal and then some of that business. It goes the same, like it doesn't always have to be a post on, I just sold this property or I just listed this property. There might be some people on this webinar watching it right now or on the replay that is watching this and saying like, I don't have a listing. I don't have anyone that I'm working with. Maybe they're new to the real estate industry. And so what would you say to them? What should they post? What should one of their first posts be?
first and foremost, like introduce yourself. I recently had a client do an introductory reel, right? So if we're talking about tools, Instagram loves reels right now, and they're short too. So just make a short, clip it, introducing yourself. This is what I do, right? So if your audience doesn't know that you're a realtor, definitely make them well aware, right? Everyone needs a realtor. Everyone has a friend who's a realtor, right? So be one of those friends.
Yeah,
Um, and you can ease stuff into like educational things, like so things that to us seem very, very normal when it comes to the real estate transaction or what to look for or real estate trends. This stuff is all public information. So even if you're brand new and you've like, oh, I've never had a listing, I've never worked with a buyer, I don't have a lot of content, or you're starting out, there's be educational, become that resource of information. I love when I learn these common things probably through social media from
yeah,
people. Um, and I think just educational and community focused, right? Because
yeah.
that's what you are. You are a community expert and you are a real estate expert. So you need to prove that. And you can do that without having listings.
Yeah. And I'm going to share my screen again. I saw somebody was like, what is, how do I use Wise Agent to do some of these things that you guys are talking about? And so one of the things is if you don't have a listing, you're not working with anyone, you're maybe new to this industry. I'm going to have to close out some of these Zoom windows here. You can use some of our lead magnets on our landing page. And so to get to our landing pages, you just click on marketing and go to our landing pages. And I'm sure Sarah's going to post in the chat all things related to our landing pages. But some of these are like, lead magnets, which is basically a way where you can post something and you can create one of these things like this one's 5 mistakes sellers make right
Oh,
now, is just don't fall victim to these mistakes. So you can take this landing page. And I'm going to show you guys, I'm not going to edit this. So I'm just going to just say, create this landing page. I can put a source in here. I'm just going to do whatever. And then I would put in a more thoughtful source because that does make a difference. And then I can edit this, and I'm not going to though, but you can just click around and edit some of the colors or whatever it is that you want to edit. And then I'm going to just post this on, where'd it go? I'm going to post it. Did I not? Oh, 5 things. Did I not click on create? Don't you love when you save and create and you don't really save anything? Okay, so it's this one here. I'm just gonna exit out of it and it should create it here. And what I'm gonna do is just say 5 mistakes that sellers make, and I can go ahead and activate this. And then I'm going to, there's a share button here on Facebook. I'm just gonna share this, and I think the window comes up for me to post it on Facebook. So let me see if I can share it on here. You seeing that little Facebook window? Yeah. And so now this will go to, I can share it to my news feed or story, but I can share this to a group. So if I belong to a group called, and I don't know what groups are in here, I live in Fountain Hills, so Fountain Hills Homes for Sale. And I can post this in here so then people can see like, hey, these are 5 mistakes that you might be making. Like, don't fall victim to this. I can help you. And you can post this. And what happens is basically this landing page will then serve as a way for you to create those leads. They'll see this page and they're going to fill out this form and saying, I want to sell my property, but I don't want to make these mistakes. What do I have to do? Well, obviously call a realtor. And then you use Wise Agent to then automatically respond to them with the 5 mistakes that you don't want them to make. So as soon as they fill out this form and click get my free guide, then you create the rule. And I think I use this as the source. You create this rule and we already have that guide for you. So in our content, and you can just say, use this guide and it will automatically send them this in an email. So then this is the email that goes out. So they get the lead magnet. You use this lead magnet to generate those leads, come in automatically into your database. Then you can reply to them and nurture them, right? Put them on a drip campaign, start nurturing them, start building that relationship with them so you could help them sell their property.
That's honestly, this is amazing. I think the biggest thing I see is like from people is like, how do I create content, right? How do I create lead magnets? Because when you engage with Facebook, you only own so much of that information. Like Facebook really owns that data. But if you create a Wise Agent landing page, you get all that data plus they get put on a drip. And I think, and this is a question for you, Lainey, can you use that landing page in an ad on Facebook?
Yep. Yes, absolutely. So you can create, let me go back to my screen. So last week on the webinar series, I had Gina from eVocalize, who we've partnered with to create our digital ads platform. So you could, let me go here. So you could create any kind of a lead here. So some of these are leads that have the lead ad form built in from Facebook. So they never have to leave Facebook. And that's like one way of doing it where it just becomes a little bit, there's just some stickiness to that, right, Mara? I mean, like if you don't have to fill out the form, because what happens with that is Facebook will fill that out and then and we have that direct integration. So then the lead will come into your Wise Agent account. But then you can also have like a home valuation traffic. This is one of the most popular ads that we're running right now. Because of the way the market is, everyone wants to know what is the value of their house. What, do they have equity in it, right? And so you can create an ad just saying, what's your home worth? And then direct them to the landing page that you've created in Wise Agent that's all about, let me change pages here, let me go back. And this is why I don't do training and I only do demos, right? So this is not training whatsoever, guys. You guys can contact our support and say, hey, can you walk me through creating these landing pages and these lead rules? And our team will help you with that. But we have a landing page that's all about home valuation. And so you can take this one here and make that part of your ad. So then, and then use the lead rule to send them an automated CMA instantly. Because my theory, and Mara knows this about me, I love like having work-life balance, being able to do the things that I love to do, but still have business being generated and things still happening. And I'm sure a lot of realtors can relate to that. And so you could still be posting these ads out there on social and generate leads, and then still have the leads being handled because you're spending money on this. You don't want them to just fall to the wayside. But then they're automatically being responded to with our rules that you've set up.
This is amazing. This is from a social media perspective, right? The traditional route would be you go into Facebook Ads Manager, which, isn't, it's a little finicky, right? There's a lot of buttons and out of anything that changes between Facebook and Instagram, for some reason, it's their ads manager that changes, I think, the most. And you don't know where the buttons are, like 2 months later. So the fact that, Wise Agent can create an ad for you in its own platform, it has the templates for you. So you're not going into like Canva or like, I'm not a graphic designer. So like, that's another job that they're taking care of.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about that in our,
this product is taking over like 5 jobs that you would otherwise have to do by yourself, which as someone who does it, it's time consuming, right? And if you did run lead gen ads through Facebook, the lead gen is still in Facebook. The beauty about this is that it goes back into your CRM and it's being taken care of. There's no manual process of getting that data from Facebook. And also Facebook doesn't really own that data anymore. You do, which is a huge plus, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's the biggest thing is that you want to make sure that you're spending money, a good, like, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Mara, but I mean, from what I've seen, like if you're spending, $2 per lead on an ad, you're doing really, really
Very
well.
good.
Really, really good. You could, I mean, I know some people that are like, I'm spending, $25, $30 per lead, which is a high cost of acquisition because that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to pan out. You still have to nurture and do everything else. We did last week, we were getting ready for our demo with or the webinar. And I said to Sarah, can you run an ad? And she, inadvertently forgot to turn it off. We inadvertently collected three seller leads that we were not selling a house, but we inadvertently did that just by running an ad for a few hours. I think it was like $1.25 per lead, somewhere around there. So that's really inexpensive, and it was all done through our platform directly into the CRM. I mean, then you start nurturing it because it's such a huge combination of like your funnel, and you've talked about this a little bit, where like you want to get these leads coming in or these potential clients coming in, but then you have to do more than just get them into your database.
Yeah, totally. And I think when we think about social media, it's not, oh, they engaged, they're ready to buy, right? So if we think about a sales funnel, I would put social media at the very top. That's brand awareness, that's them knowing who you are, what you do. Maybe they're a little curious, right? And then I think the beauty of this is that once they engage with your ad and give you, their personal information, they're already halfway down because they're already being like tended to
Right.
communication wise. So that's
Yeah.
phenomenal. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm so impressed.
I'm glad I can impress you, Mara. I always love that.
Um,
It's-
I see a really good question though. In Facebook, does boost available cost money?
yeah.
Okay.
I know
I
this is one of your favorite
I
questions.
know it's my favorite question. I am a boost hater. I will say that.
Me too.
I will recommend if Facebook or any other platform recommends you to boost, say no.
Yeah.
Run an ad through Wise Agent, run a traditional ad through Facebook Ads Manager, because a boost is you're giving Facebook your money and it's only boosting to people that are already in your sphere. So I guess if you had something really particular to the people in your sphere that you really wanted them to know, like maybe like a client appreciation party, like keep it close. But beyond that, you're not really building business by boosting your post. You're not reaching anybody new. You're just reinforcing your post to the people that are potentially seeing it for free in your feed. So if you're gonna spend your money, do it through an ad through your Wise Agent account or go through Ads Manager. And same thing for LinkedIn, right? Just run an ad. I will say ads on LinkedIn more expensive, but that's a different if you like have a
Yeah.
LinkedIn conversation with
Well, and I know
recruiting.
we talked about that briefly yesterday because I'm like, well, how would you use? I mean, I would use LinkedIn ads for recruiting,
Yeah.
and for maybe even generating some leads as a new realtor, maybe, but maybe not even that. I don't know. I mean, I would see it as recruiting for sure.
Definitely. And I know that was a question in the Q&A was like, how do I use Twitter and LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Twitter used to be super hot for real estate. Twitter right now in the real estate space is like, if you're in the hot market with like crypto and NFT stuff, Twitter's your place for that. That's where those conversations are happening.
Yeah.
Also for like thought leadership. So if you're going to conferences and if you're like traveling and you're trying to brand yourself as more of a thought leader or you're trying to move up the ranks in terms of becoming a speaker, Twitter's a really good platform for you. In terms of like marketing your listings, I haven't seen a whole bunch of stuff going on there. It's not a super graphical platform, so that's why I like Instagram is better. And then for LinkedIn, I agree, Eleni, it's really great for recruiting. They don't have as many limitations when it comes to ads on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
we all know that through Facebook, we're super limited in terms of targeting people because of HUD, right? Which is a good thing. We shouldn't be targeting. But even if you're trying to recruit for agents, you get hit sometimes with that housing ad policy, even though
Mhm.
you're not marketing to consumers. They're trying to cover,
Yeah,
their
their
tracks.
basis.
They don't want to
Yeah,
be in trouble with HUD again.
right,
So
right.
LinkedIn, though, doesn't have those limitations yet.
Okay.
But also the targeting is a little bit different, but it's great for recruiting. You can target based off of location. You're not limited by zip code or 15 miles out over there. You can target based on like education level or their previous job experience. Also, if you are in a luxury market, LinkedIn might be a great place for you to be, because you can target based off of like executive, like if they're an executive level, if they work at these types of companies. So if you're in like a high relo area, you might want to be targeting some of those bigger companies in your area to see if you
Yeah.
can work with some. These are just little things I've learned along the way with some clients in Seattle. So
Yeah,
be
those are good.
strategic about it. Mhm.
Yeah, that's a great thing. And I love what you said about, Twitter is that it is not very graphical, where Instagram is more graphical, and there is a lot more. I mean, in real estate, I mean, everyone wants to see, what does a kitchen look like? What does the front of the house look like? What does the backyard look like? The bathrooms. I mean, there is a lot of imagery in real estate that you kind of pull on people's heartstrings from that. Like, they're going to stop and look at your listing even through just like your MLS feed, just based on what it looks like. And so that's what Instagram does. So you can kind of, and the ads that you run from Wise Agent will also run on Instagram. So you have, so they'll run to both platforms, and even on Marketplace and Messenger and all of that. So all of the ads run on all the platforms, and we do have the housing and economic, all that criteria that's already set up. So you're not going to be exposing yourself to any kind of issues there. There's a great question here that, I want to answer, because I think it's great for everyone to hear. So Edgar's asking, can I use a picture or pictures of another agent's listing and just comment on the picture? For example, what would you prefer, a view like this, home, or a pool? So, I think that's a great question. Mara, do you want to tackle that one?
Um, I
So
would
like
not,
having,
yeah, I
yeah,
would not use somebody else's listing photo. Absolutely not. Technically, what is it? They own the photos.
yeah,
Be very, very careful with copyright issues specifically on your ads too. Like this stuff is related to you. Um, you can get an Adobe stock as some sort of stock imaging, because people will get the gist of it. If you type in a beautiful pool and you get a free stock photo, or you pay for a stock photo, it will be the same as a listing photo. They'll get the
it
story
just,
of what
yeah,
you're trying to represent. I would never use someone else's listing photos. You could use your own, but you need permission from the homeowner as well, because you're putting their house all over the internet. So just make sure, you dot your I's and you cross your T's in terms of privacy and ownership of photos.
yeah. Yeah,
Definitely.
so thanks for that one. And I know, and if you want to run, I think maybe a good, maybe a good thing would be taking someone's listing, asking, obviously, can I use your listing, someone from your office, like, can I use your listing to generate some leads, like buyer leads? Like, are you interested in buying this property? Is that maybe, and maybe that's what Edgar's saying, like, if you want to have, obviously you have full permission and all of that stuff. And you want to make sure, if you're going to be doing that, I think that's a totally valid thing to do. And I've seen people run those ads where you you take somebody else's listing and from your office, and let's say, and post it and say, hey, is anyone interested in seeing this property? There's an open house this weekend, or I can, take you for a private showing, whatever time. So I think those are type of things that you can absolutely do. And that could help you, that's an ad that you could definitely run as well. So, but then I love what you said about images too, because that's one thing you want to make sure of, is that there are ratios on Facebook ads. If you're going to be running ads natively through the Facebook Ads Manager, you have to make sure that the image doesn't have too much like fonts on it. Like,
Yeah,
there's not a lot of copy on
there's
there.
a bunch of rules when it comes to ads. So they don't want more than, I think, a third of your ad to be words. So your logo, contact information, free home evaluation. they want that small. So
Yeah.
be sure that another great stock site is called 2020. I'm going to put it in the chat. They have some free stuff, but their paid is not much, and it's really aesthetically beautiful stock photos. So it's not stuff that you would find on your first page of Adobe or the main or iStock. This is stuff that is curated a little bit differently, but I really love this stock site. And in terms of just we haven't talked about algorithm. I'm gonna talk really, really quick. So I was explaining to Eleni the other day that I view social media as like they're like toddlers, right? So we have to feed the algorithm, we have to feed the toddler what they want. Otherwise, they're gonna have a tantrum and they're gonna shut down your social, not shut down, but there is an algorithm and there's a way to work it, right? So Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn, all social media platforms love faces. The more photos of you and your clients and smiling and tagging people, right? Because we want them to get the notifications so they engage, therefore helping your posts be seen by more people, right? So they love faces. So that's why when we were talking about celebrating a closing or whatever, take a picture of the sellers or buyers. Like that will get way more engagement than the photo of the house in terms of just pure algorithm, like pure how they sort things out. Less words, high res photos, right? What else can I think of? And also we want to tag people. We want to tag the location, use all the bells and whistles that Facebook and Instagram give you, because they will give back. They will put it in front of more people's faces if you play by Facebook and Instagram's rules.
Okay.
And that's just to gamify it and engage, like
And
start
so,
fighting back.
so you mentioned the gamification of it. So I know on Instagram, it's all about the hashtags and everything else. And that's a couple of the questions where like, how do I even get more, how do I even find some hashtags, and how do I use those to get more followers and get more likes and all of that stuff. But then on Facebook, do the hashtags still follow the same rules as on Instagram with hashtags?
So Facebook, I would say they don't use hashtags as much. Facebook is still a very relationship personal platform. I feel like I like personally, I would feel more inclined to follow a stranger on Instagram than on Facebook. I think
Yeah.
because there's more personal information within Facebook, we hold that as like a true profile. And
Okay.
maybe we don't see Instagram as like a personal profile, but more of like a visual profile.
Yeah.
But to do hashtag research, very simple. What I do is I go and I search hashtags, right, that I feel like would be relevant. So I have like an equation. So 3 to 5 hashtags that are branded to you. So right, like my hashtags would be like hashtag Mara Sullivan, hashtag Mara Sullivan Consulting, right? That was my personal brand. And then 5 that are to my area or my area of expertise. So since I'm not in a geographical location, well, let's just say I was, right? So I'm in San Jose, California. Hello, my people on the West Coast. I would put, hashtag California or San Jose marketing, hashtag marketing or consultant in San Jose or California, right? So keep it narrow. And then your other hashtags, like 10, are going to be like general marketing consultant, social media professional, right? And then
So like to relate it back to as a realtor, so it would be like, realtor in San Jose,
yeah,
or, listing homes in San Jose.
homes
Some
for
of those.
sale, San Jose, keep
Okay.
it local, right? Because if my biggest pet peeve, do not put hashtag real estate, because if you go to hashtag real estate, there's about 5+ million other posts hashtag real estate. So how are you really being found? So be strategic about it. I have like kind of, it needs to be more than 1,000, right? Especially if you're being super local, but try to pick hashtags that are less than like 1 million, right? 1.5 on the other side of the spectrum, just so you
Okay.
can be found, honestly, so you don't get lost.
Yeah, and so that's something I know, like, because people would then, you're saying that the way that social media works, the way that Instagram works, so I'm in Fountain Hills, and I would just go out there and look on Instagram for hashtag Fountain Hills, and I would follow that hashtag, And then, and that's kind of what we're saying is that if you create these, if you generate, like I see it a lot for, I have a couple of friends that are getting married, right, in the next couple of weeks. So they have like their, I guess nowadays people, I guess I've been married too long, right? They have their own wedding hashtags, right? Because then you can find them and follow that hashtag so you can see all the posts about the wedding, right? Or whatever it is. So if it's about you, like in your brand, Bob the Realtor, then I can follow that Bob the Realtor hashtag and get the notifications and see that in my feed, is what you're saying.
Yeah, totally. And if you want, you can brand yourself more on a social platform. So your clients, if they post photos, right?
Right.
Ask, right? Or even people market themselves as their hashtag, right? They'll put their hashtag part of their marketing, be like hashtag like Bob the Realtor, like
Yeah.
that's a slogan, like that's cool. That's going to be on everything. And also a way to boost your engagement. So there's a few algorithm hacks. Before you post anything, spend about 5 minutes interacting with people on your feed, on your stories, on the hashtags that you're potentially going to be using. Click on that. Engage with a few people that recently posted that look like they're, good posts that you're going to be using. Facebook and Instagram really, really like when you spend more time engaging as well as posting, because social media is not a megaphone. It's it's a form of communication, right? So back and forth.
Yeah, I love that. And I know in a way to get, we talked a little bit about inviting people to your business page, all of your friends that are on Facebook, but also even from within Wise Agent, if you guys don't have your branding set up to have your social media links on your email branding within Wise Agent, you should really be thinking about adding those in there, because every email that goes out, we allow 20, I think there was an email, or there was a question about email, and if we could do that through Wise Agent, we allow you to send up to 2,500 emails per day through our platform. That's a lot of emails. It's like 75,000 a month. That's a lot of emails that can go out, and you want to make sure that you're including your social media links to that, because you and use the ones, like we have all of them, right? But and I'll just go quickly here on Wise Agent and go to email branding. But you can, so if you don't have anything on YouTube, remove that, right? If you don't have anything on Twitter, like remove that. I would say though, as a realtor, you should have a YouTube channel. So if you don't have anything on LinkedIn or whatever it is, or Pinterest, go ahead and remove it. Use the ones that you like. Make sure that you have the ones that you use. I think that having a YouTube channel will really be beneficial, because that is something that just a lot of people go to. I mean, that's a huge search engine. And so finding, if I'm searching for homes for sale in Fountain Hills, I'm going to hit, it's going to hit one of those channels that has a house that has a video in it, right? That's really
Totally, because
important.
Google owns YouTube. So when you Google anything, what's the first thing that pops up is the YouTube section.
Yeah.
So it's a super easy and free way for you to really optimize your search.
Yeah. And then it goes full circle. You can add that into your email marketing. You could add that into your text marketing plans. You can, it's all about it. It's a strategy. It's not like just like a thing on a task list, like I have to do it. It's part of your marketing strategy. Wouldn't you agree with that, Mara, that there's things like you should have like a library of videos, just like, an about me video is an absolute must. And I know this isn't about videos, but it's all related with one another, because that's something that you can, share out on social and redo even. So if you've done it on YouTube, because you don't want to post a YouTube video on Facebook, right? You want to create your own video on Facebook.
Yeah, when you have a video file, upload that file independently into each platform. It will just perform better. Another algorithm. They don't want YouTube links. They want you to watch the video on Facebook, right?
On Facebook, yeah. So just using all of that information, kind of thinking about your marketing strategy as holistic, instead of just being like in these little, cylinder things that are just all independent from one another. It does have to be more of a holistic approach to it. And so we even talked about that last week with Gina, where it was, like, yes, you want to run Facebook ads, but don't forget about, posting things on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and anywhere that you're at socially, or your clients are. You want to make sure that you're doing a combination of everything.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people, oh my God, do I have time? Blah, blah. There are
Yeah.
schedulers out there. I will say, time block like an hour a week, 2 hours to create your content, right? Create landing pages on Wise Agent, and then you can schedule them on business.facebook.com/ they have a scheduler now. I will find the link and I
Yeah.
will put it somewhere. It's in
Okay.
the
Yeah.
business suite. Facebook now has a scheduler, so it's direct, so you don't have to pay for it. You can post directly to Instagram and Facebook. You can do stories, you can do reels, you can post everything, and it looks like Facebook, the platform, so it's not confusing, like you wouldn't know where the buttons are. But there's other platforms where you can schedule out to post onto, I think maybe YouTube, but LinkedIn and Twitter, which would be like your Hootsuite, Sprout.
Yeah.
You don't need to be on social every day thinking about posting, because I know as a realtor broker, you guys are wearing about 20 hats, and a
Yeah.
social media manager isn't quite a priority hat sometimes.
Right. Yeah. It can be a challenge to find that time. I had a friend, one of our dear friends, Annette Anthony, who she said to me, she's like, I don't ever see you on social media. I'm like, oh my gosh, Annette. I'm like, I don't have time for it. She's like, you wake up super early. And she knows I wake up at like 5 a.m. She's like, just get on there. She's like, before the kids wake up and your day starts, just take 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start doing it, Annette. And Annette, if you're watching, I am going to start doing it. But it's always that, like, oh, that one day. It is about putting it on your calendar. And for me, I'm if it's on my calendar, like, it will absolutely happen, unless something like earth shattering is going on. But like, it will happen if it's on my calendar. If it's not, I won't make the time for it. And so I think it is about, like what you said, time blocking and making sure that you take that 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, and if not post, take time to comment on people's things, because that really it pops up for everybody. Like, if you see, I see stuff when people engage and comment all the time, and that still is showing that you have a presence, right?
Yeah.
It still shows that you're engaged with the people in your sphere.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love that. I love this conversation, Mara, and I hope you guys have as well. I think there was a lot of stuff, and I saw a lot of people saying like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed to hear. So thanks so much for sharing.
I know I could talk about this for hours. So there's so
know.
much we didn't cover too.
I know there was a lot that we didn't cover, but if you guys have any other questions, we're going to be, the conversation can continue just through social media. So we were live on Facebook. We're live on Facebook right now. So if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and ask your questions there, and we'll tag Mara to make sure that she sees those comments as well. So thanks so much, Mara. I love you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. And I just want to say, everybody who registered for this webinar will be getting an email from me as well, with a recap of our video. And I have a one-pager that I give out to everybody that just has, the itty bitty details of social, like how big should my graphics be, the length of videos, the size of things, where I edit my stuff, where I get my free tools from. So everyone who registered will be getting a one-pager with all those fun tips and tricks. So I look forward to hearing back from all y'all.
Yes, yes. And reach out to Mara. She's fabulous. If you guys have any questions on, she does do some social media strategy and consulting. So if you guys need any help with that, she's available. Next week, I'm going to be, I think I'm back on next week. Yes, April 20th with Mara, Connie Myers. So Connie and I are going to be on. Yes, so I know we run in this.
A sweetheart.
She is. I love Connie too. So we're going to be talking about the power of preparedness and a disaster recovery plan. So I'm super excited for that one too, because we had our lights were flickering all day yesterday. I'm like, oh, are we going to lose power? So we're going to be talking about what happens if you're in a situation where kind of a disaster strikes, and what you could be doing with Connie Myers, another dear friend. So thank you, my dear, for being on. Can't wait to see you and hug you soon at one of our events that we'll be at. And thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. Again, I'll be on next week with Connie at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesday, April 20th. So join us for that. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.